Hi, I'm Kathy from Eclectic Images and thank you for joining me today. Today's card is a fun little Christmas one called Merry and Mischievious, featuring our little cheeky elves. If you have been recently to the Sandown Picture to Page show, 2024, this is the class that we had on offer there, so you may have had chance to do that class and this is a recap, or if you weren't there, this is a great way to see a fun little Christmas card. Okay, so our stamps we're using is the Gumleaf Wreath, Elves out of the and the Merry Christmas out of the Christmas Elves set, and just a little gypsum out of the Flower Bouquet set. My inks will be Versafine Clair. We've got Fallen Leaves and Shady Lane. We're then going to be decorating with some red Kindy Glitz and also gold foil, which we'll use as a glue pen to put that on, and some colouring with the Pentel brush markers in olive green and sepia, and a touch of the Winkles in bronze. Okay, so let's get started. Now I've already got the Elf Cheeky loaded into my stamp press, and I've worked out where he's going to go. So I'll ink him up with the Fallen Leaves. So there's 3 elves in the set. Elf Cheeky, Elf Mischief, and Elf Laughter. So this is Elf Cheeky, this one. Stamp him down. So it's Cotton Blend 210 GSM that we're working on. Nice. That's come in with a good image. So now I've already pre-cut a mask of him too, so that I can then pop that over the top and then we can stamp the wreath in. So if I just pop that mask over the top of him, now we can position the wreath. So I want it, would help if I put it the right way for the stamp press. I want not too much foliage down the bottom where we're stamping the Merry Christmas. It's going to sort of wrap around him. Okay, pick that up. Now this one I'm going to stamp with the Shady Lane. Make sure my mask is in place, including his little toes. Press down. I've got Merry and Christmas trying to get in on the act already. It's not even their turn. Okay, let's see how our image is. I think we need a bit of a re-inking there. It's not quite strong enough. I'll get my stamp baron and give that a bit of a push. That's better. Now give that one a clean and take it off. So I'm just cleaning on a damp sponge, lint-free, well, a lint-free cloth that I've folded up to make it into a more of a sponge shape. And then we're going to position our Merry. Now this is very important that we get it right up to the edge of the mask so it really looks like he's sitting on it. So I'm putting it on and I can see the mask through it. I don't know if Matthew can actually see that too. It might help if I turn the platform around. Okay, so at the moment I can see the little elf mask through it, and then I'm just going to move it down until I can still just see the mask. So that way I know the Merry is going to be disappearing in underneath him. Except I've just noticed there's a bit of fluff on the stamp. Let's do that process again with a clean stamp because I want this to stamp nice and solid. I don't want any little fluff bits getting in the way. So over him, push it down. Now I will check when I close the stamp press that I've got that fairly straight. And then we can put our Christmas in underneath there as well. So let's just close this and have a look at our grid lines and look that our word is fairly straight. Not quite. I need to just drop the Merry down just a smidge and the Christmas up a smidge. looks better. I mean, as always, if it's not perfect, it's okay. It's a handmade card. You know, we don't have to be perfect all the time, but we do like to get them as close to that as we can. Okay, let's pop our mask back in. So that you can see already the wreath's gone in behind the little elf. And by having the mask still there, it means that Mary's going to disappear just underneath him as well. Let's ink that up with the Shady Lane as well. Now I tried to pick a bit of the wreath that didn't have as much fronds to interfere with the Mary, but the Mary's quite a solid stamp, so it should show up even over the top of the fronds, particularly if we give it a second inking. Make sure we're giving time for that ink to absorb into the card. Wonderful. Okay, that's just what we want. Quick clean and pop those ones to one side. And we can take our mask out of there now as well. And look at our little elf sitting on his Mary. Oh, he is cheeky. I was going to say he's gorgeous, but no, he's just cheeky. Okay, we're now going to do some very quick colouring on the leaves. I'm going to have just an acrylic block as my palette, a little bit of sepia, the brush marker, and a bit of olive green. I find that I really like the mix of these two colours together. So with my water brush, just check that it is wet, and it is. I can mix those two together and make this fabulous green. Now, if I get more bits of brown in one spot and more bits of green in another spot, I'm going to be fine with that. This is just a very quick bit of colouring. I'm not even worrying about whether I'm colouring all the way to the edges of the leaves. If I start at that end and then go down the leaf, it's easier to naturally I can lift off and get to the point of the leaf there. So it does make, if I go in the direction of the leaf, it actually makes it very easy to colour quickly. And as you can see, because we're using a mixture of two colours, at times we're getting more green, at times we're getting more brown. And that's great because that'll just make the leaves look a little bit more interesting. But at this point, the leaves are almost the background. They're not really the feature of it, so I don't mind if it is a little bit rough looking. Last bit one for this one. Now the other thing that I want to stamp in here is the little jip from that Flower Bouquet set. And I'm going to do that with the Versafine Clair Shady Lane. And rather than masking the wreath, which is such a fine stamp, it would be very hard to cut a mask of it, I'm just going to use a bit of torn paper, and I'm going to make the jip go mostly to the outside part of the wreath. Okay, we've got one up there. That'll be fun. Let's just give that stamp a clean. So I'm going to clean the front of it, but I'm going to give the back of it a wipe as well. This means that this little stamp has been used a lot and needs a wash. They do lose their stick sometimes when they need a wash. I'm just going to pop it up to the top of the block, which will be easier to hang on to. Okay, we will work out something with that one in a moment. So I'm not even inking the whole thing. I'm mainly inking the top part. Let's stamp that where we wanted it. So by masking that leaf, I can pop the jip in, and we're just adding some extra oomph to our wreath. Now in the actual pattern of the gum leaf wreath, there is already some little wattle blossoms. So we're going to pick those out in one colour and the ends of the jip out in another colour. And you could do either. I'm going to do the wattle part with the gold leaf and these bits of jip with the red glitter. But you could do it the other way around. Or you could use red leaf and a gold glitter would look fine too. So just move that curved bit of paper around. So you can see we've just filled that wreath out a little bit. Now this little bit that's flying through the air, do we leave it on its own? Or do I just make it into a little bit of a bouquet? There we go. It's an extra little branch of gyp.
Perhaps one of the other elves was throwing things.
I bet they were. I bet they were. And I bet it was Elf Mischief, which is this one here that sits on the... That's Elf Mischief there. So I bet it was him throwing stuff in. Okay. Now, I'm not going to add a lot of colour to the elf at the moment. First thing I'm going to do is put in the glue ready for the foil so it can be drying, because this is our Zig glue pen, which is a two-way glue. So it goes on as a glue and goes on blue, and then when it dries clear, it's become a tacky glue. So you can use that for loose glitter, flock, or in this case, pretty foil. So open it up. I'll use my same little bit of mask that I was using and just give that ball a roll, make sure it's got some glue happening. And so here's where I can see the little wattle bits. So I'm just adding dots of glue. If some of them join together, that's okay. And if you want to add a few more dots, you certainly can. I might put a few just in there too. And here we've got a gap with not too many, so let's add a few little bits there. I'm not exactly following the line of the stamp because I've got glue and foil. I actually need a little bit more space. Sort of where the dots are of the pattern, they're quite close together. So I'm just doing my dots a little bit further apart. Okay, I think that's enough for that. So now that while that's drying, let's get the winklets in the bronze, and we're going to give our little elf some hair. So these are a brush pen with glitter and colour. But it's not real dark. I just want a little hint of colour there. Go around his ear and colour his hair down there. Now, we've still got a little bit of drying time yet. I'm going to talk about what colour we're going to mount this card up onto, and then I'll come back and maybe have time to add a little bit more colour to our elf. So I'm going to mount it up onto, this is a cardstock from Paper Stop. It's called Jellybean Green, which is a lovely match for our Shady Lane. So that's about how our card's going to look once it's mounted up. So those greens are working really well together. All right, while we're waiting, let's bring in some other colours onto our, I had a block here with colour on, didn't I? Let's bring that back in. Put a little gyp to one side. Okay, I wipe it clean of the greens, and now I'm going to put down a bit of red. I often like mixing things together. I do often use the red and the green as they are on the elf, but I wanted to add a little bit of shine to them this time. So I'm going to use the red and the green in the winklets as well. So let's use, so this is going to, so the red in the winklets is a fairly soft red, and I want a brighter red. So if I mix it with this one, that's going to give me the brighter colour, but it's going to give a sparkle that that brush marker doesn't have. Like the brush markers and the Aquash brushes though, lovely fine point to the nib. So I can turn that around. Just be careful that you're not sticking your hand in your glue spots. That's pretty important. Now what should we paint in red? Let's do his little suit. Now in the sample that I did for this, when we did it as a class at Sandown, I didn't colour him all in. I left him with just the hair coloured, and I quite like that with everything else that's going on in the card. But if you've got time, a little bit of colour's nice too. Okay. Now let's add a touch of sparkle to the green. Oh, that's going to look really pretty. Now it's a much more subtle glitter using a shimmer pen. Whether you're using a clear shimmer pen or a coloured one, it's a lot more subtle than a glitter. So I don't know how much we'll pick up on the camera what we're doing, but it does add that little bit of shine. Just give him some green on his eyes as well. Okay. Right, now our foiling glue is dry, so it's gone clear. So we can come in with our foil, and I'll work away from where I've just been doing colouring. So we press our foil down and then lift it up. And look at the effect that you get. Isn't that just magic? Now I'm using a foil that's got, I forget what they call it, a speckle to it. But you could use any of the foils, any of the gold foils would work beautifully. Whether it's a flat gold or whether it's a speckly one, it's still going to look fabulous. So press down and then just almost flick it up. Press down, flick up. Okay, that is really nice. Okay, I'm just going to put my double-sided tape on and stick it down to my base card before I start adding glitter to it. Have I got all of the glue bits? Oh, not quite there. I don't want any stickiness when I go to turn the card over. Wonderful. Okay. Bit of tape on the back. Now, the nice thing about using the paper stock card is that it will also have a matching envelope. Grab a bit of green card. Just having a look at my top and bottom borders and my side borders. Lay it down straight and smooth down. I'm being careful because that Winklets might still be a bit wet and I don't want to smear little elf colour everywhere. And I think I did just wipe a little bit of glitter and glue off, so I'm just going to come in and quickly redo that bit.
You certainly don't want to make a mistake when you're 20 minutes in.
No, I do not want to have to go back and redo any bits of it. Just going up. I probably should have stuck the card together before I did the glue. That would make sense. Okay, now we're going to add the red glitter and then we'll be done. Now this glitter can be a little bit enthusiastic. So I'm just going to test a bit on my scrap paper towel to see how much flowage we've got, and that is behaving itself beautifully. So now I can just go around all those little jip bits, and again it doesn't have to be exactly on the dots, but it does give you a guide. And if you don't do every dot, that's fine, because again, the dots from this are going to be a little bit bigger than the stamped image. So it might be best not to do every dot. And if you happen to put in an extra dot where you think you might like an extra dot, that is fine.
So you're allowed to be completely dotty.
Completely dotty. Yes, I like that. In fact, I've gone glittery dotty. Or dotty through too much glitter. Nah, Christmas card. You never have too much glitter. And this would be a great time if you found you'd done a bit of a smudge or something on your card. Just to go, well, I'll have another 3 dots of glitter out there. So I'm just giving a squeeze every now and again. Just to keep that flowing. And that will depend on how enthusiastic the glitter is on the day. Sometimes you don't need to squeeze it at all. Sometimes you do need to give it a bit of encouragement. Nearly there. Wow. Okay. I'm stopping there because that looks lovely. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to bring it forward onto the black so Matthew can get a really good shot of it. And I might hold it up to see whether we can get that glitter of the winklets on his outfit. Can we see that glittering in the lights? There we go. That's got it. So it just gives it that subtle shine, and then we've got the in-your-face shine of glitter and foil. What a gorgeous card for Christmas. I hope you like it too. I think it's awesome. Okay, so as I said, if you got to go to Sandown Picture Page and do the class there, this is your reminder of what you did. If not, this is your class in a gorgeous little card featuring one of our cheeky elves. Okay, good luck with all your Christmas card making, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.